Hi, welcome back to this playlist. We're talking about just in time, just enough, and any other privileged access request patterns and use cases with Centrify products. In this video, part three, we're going to be setting up account workflow for our login, checkout, and file transfer. And then we're going to do a demo of the portal login. So, like I said, in my environment, I have a hyperscalable hosted version of privileged access service. And we're going to talk about setting up account workflow. So account workflow allows us to set up access requests for login through the jump box. For checkout, that's our break class scenario. And also file transfer in the context of SFTP. So in order to set up workflow, you have to be an administrator and you have to go into resources. And after when you see version 20.5, you're going to see a global workflow session. So there's two places where you can set up workflow today. One is at the global level, and then the other one is an override. Obviously, it's highly desirable that you can do this at the set level, but these are capabilities that Centrify is developing incrementally. To set up account workflow is super easy. All you need to do is check the box here, enable workflow for all accounts, and you can set up an approver list. The approver types can be either the requester's manager. What that means is that in the source directory for the requester, the manager field has to be set up with a user that is known to privileged access service, and or using a specified user or role. The benefit of using roles is that since you can have identities from multiple directories, this makes it super flexible. And the fact that the platform is not necessarily optimized for workflow makes it super easy to set up and is good enough for a lot of organizations, especially if there are mid-sized organizations. So I'm going to make my life super simple here. Notice that I have different sources. I have the Centrify Cloud Directory or Active Directories that I may have connected, LDAPs, Google directories, and even federated users that I can pick. And I'm going to just make my life easy. Since Diana is a member of the systems administrators, I'm just going to make the system administrator an approver. Notice that you can have, you can combine pooling. So if you have multiple members of the target role, it can be first in, first out, or you can have approvers in order. For example, you may have the line manager to be the approver first, and then you can have, maybe an auditor to be the final approver. The challenge here is depending on the SLA, right? That makes people be in standby. So one of the things that this workflow engine does not have today is auto approvals. That's something that is on the pipeline, but the key here is you would have to script around if you want to do auto approvals, and that's a higher desirable thing that I want to be able to set up. So believe it or not, account workflow is already set up. So I have a few systems here that we're going to be working with. I have a set called JIT, and this JIT set is accessible by Lisa on the other side. So first and foremost, okay, I have this Linux system here. The first demo I'm going to do is access request on a live system using a shared account. So this OP admin account has been provisioned in the system. One thing that I can do is check the health real quick so I can verify the credential. Focus over here. So it's saying that the credential is good. Now I'm moving and I'm Lisa. So Lisa's experience is a little bit different. She could go on their accounts and notice that she can only see that account. She cannot see the other accounts that I've set up. So notice that immediately she has that request login or request checkout capabilities available to her. So the cadence is as follows. She would just do a request login. She can put a message, and the assignment can be either permanent or windowed. Something that I did not mention before is that we have the ability to disable permanent workflow requests. So when you have permanent assignments, that's when things start getting crazy. You lose track of those. Attestation becomes super important. But when you disable permanent workflow, then everything is temporary. So it stresses the access request system, but at the same time, you don't have to worry about maintaining permanent memberships. And that limits also lateral movement in the case of a compromise. So in here, I can either set up a window or a permanent. I'm just going to make my life super easy. I'm just going to do a window, and you're going to see the approval. So this is part 3. So I'm going to submit it. Request has been submitted. If I had mail enabled this, or if I had the mobile device, I would get a notification. I don't have anything mail enabled here, but the end user can go into the access and look at the requests. So in here, notice that there's an open pending request from Lisa. And the way we know it is because it's part 3. The approver has the ability to modify the approval. So when I approve it, is going to be submitted, and this is instantaneous because we don't depend on any state-based information when it comes to privileged access service. That's going to be very different when you're dealing with a Zoner workflow, because then you have Active Directory, and that's a different story. But now I can just refresh, and I'm going to right-click here, and notice how this changed. Now the login is been set up. So login has been set up, and I'm going to be able to just click on it. I have the integration using PuTTY, so this is going to allow me to log in. And in here, you see 2 banners because one belongs to the connector, and this machine also has Centrify client, so this is the local banner. So in this case, I was able to use a shared account. Maybe the shared account has sudo rights. Let me just check. I haven't checked that. Yes, it does have sudo rights. In this case, obviously, it doesn't have a password to protect it, but this is a good pattern in this case because I don't want the user to have to check out the password to be able to introduce into sudo. So this is the first demo, and in the next demo, we're going to do the same type of request without visiting the portal.